Hi, this is Rick Adams from practicalcsm.com, and today's podcast is part 2 of Job Hunting Advice for Customer Success Managers with my guest, Alan Fecamp, Director for B2B SaaS and Technology for Pi Recruitment. If you listened to part 1, you will know that Alan is a recruitment expert with a lot of knowledge and experience who is well worth listening to. In part 1, Alan sets the scene in terms of how to audit one's own knowledge, skills and experience and determine what types of customer success roles to apply for, how to start filling knowledge, skill and experience gaps, and how to start building a personal brand on social media. In this part 2, Alan talks about where to go to find the best positions being advertised and how to create a good quality resume and cover letter. In the third and final part of our conversation, Alan concludes by discussing how to improve the odds by doing more than just sending in the application and hoping for the best, and how to prepare for and perform to one's best during the interview. I hope you enjoy part 2, and please sign up to our newsletter at practicalcsm.com/sign up. That's sign-up to make sure you don't miss part 3 when it is released. Yeah, right. So there's two aspects to this, to my mind, that we've discussed, right? So one is like the like industry knowledge, the business of the customer, and how well you can hold a conversation about what they do, and then the other side then is your knowledge, skills and experience in the positions that you have held and how transferable they are to the position that you are applying for, which either at the start point of your journey, you might just be considering as being sort of generically, what do customer success managers do? But obviously, ultimately, as you go job hunting and you find positions, you're then going to need to look specifically at the job role. And as you say, customer success is a broad church. Is it customer success with an account management sort of feel to it? Is it customer success with a very strong renewals? Is it customer success and it's all about onboarding and adoption? Is it customer success and it's about advocacy and working with more senior stakeholders to grow deeper understandings of customer needs? You know, what is it that they're asking for, and how much of it do I bring? So I think that's start point. Audit yourself. You know, who are you? What do you know? What industry do you know? And what things do you know? What can you do? What knowledge, skills, and experience can you bring?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So let's say that our job hunter has sort of audited themselves, and maybe they've mentioned, and actually I guess I should say also the third aspect of that you've said is then of course, having done that audit where you see that there are some gaps. So for example, you might be very familiar with account management, but you want to move into customer success management, and you never have really done onboarding before. Yeah. So you need to go out and get some training. And obviously practicalcsm.com, my company, we offer training. Come and purchase training from us and training and certification from us. We're not the only ones, there are others as well. So, one way or the other, there's books on the subject. There's plenty of free courses that we do and others do. And there's plenty of more detailed paid for certification courses that you can go on to upskill. And as you said, what the recruiter is not going to get excited by is your intentions to do these things, because anyone can intend. What they're interested in is what you have done, and by the way, even more so is what the result is, which is why certification is good, because what ideally you want is not just to say you did it, but to say that you did it to this standard and to a provable standard, right?
Yeah, it's action, isn't it? You've acted on it and achieved something.
Got the result. Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that our candidate has done all of that. They've thought through which industries that they would be most suitable for. They've thought of which skills and experience they're bringing to the customer success role. So therefore, the type of customer success role that might be most suitable for them, and they've thought all that through. Maybe they've also carried out some additional learning maybe filled a few gaps, improved on their existing capabilities as well, or they're working on that now. So let's now move on. So they've done that. Before they start going for the job, you talk about something called building a personal brand, which I absolutely 100% agree with. So let's talk about that next. What is the power of a personal brand that really helps somebody in their job hunting?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the thought leader type mentality, doesn't it? And I think you can take it to varying levels. I mean, there's a few well-known influencers out there that you can probably replicate some of what they're doing to a lesser scale. But I think it's just increasing your credibility in the market. That's what it's about, and how people perceive you in the market as well. So you've got a market in the UK at the moment with around 7,000 customer success professionals operating in it, if LinkedIn's data is accurate. That was the figure as of last week when I ran it off. So you've got about 7,000 people out there, and probably a tiny amount of them that are actually very active on social media to any reasonable extent. So I think there's a real opportunity out there to make yourself stand out from a social media perspective, particularly on LinkedIn. And it doesn't have, it's not particularly time consuming, but you do need to spend some time shaping up your profile and actually really drawing out all of the kind of commercial pieces of experience on there. I think sometimes people miss the commercial part of CS and actually probably don't reference that enough in terms of what they've achieved from tangible results. The big thing for me is engaging with the communities. I think customer success, given the newness of the industry still, and actually the size, has probably got more communities. Than any other discipline I've ever.
Well, all the others put together, probably. Yeah,
it really has. I mean, there's a golden opportunity there to jump into those and really engage with people in your community. You'll learn from that as well. You're going to be talking to people with some fantastic experience that. Actually, from my point of view, that the CS community is happier to give out information and share knowledge more so than pretty much any other discipline I've worked in. So you need to use that, and you really, really need. When I talk about personal brand, it's about how you engage in those communities, and you've got so many of them out there that you can jump in and. Something as simple as commenting on or kind of liking posts of particular influencers and building up your engagement and profile that way. You'll notice it on your LinkedIn all of a sudden. If you keep doing that consistently, people will be checking out your profile, and that will kind of in turn, that kind of snowballs from there. If you wanted to take it a stage further, and I appreciate this may feel alien to some, then you start pushing some content out. If you're in the CS space, you'll have an opinion and some experience, which I'm sure people would love to hear about. From industry perspective, why not put the content out there? You've got a great platform on LinkedIn where you can do that, and if you use the right hashtags and all of those things, which doesn't take long to learn, you can actually start some
absolutely
self-publicizing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You'll position yourself as
I agree. And by the way, even if you're fairly junior, in customer success, don't feel that you can't do it. And even in fact, if you're not in a customer success role and wish to transition in, right? Instead of so obviously you're not going to write a white paper on how you think everybody's wrong and this is how customer success ought to be necessarily at that stage in your career, but you can even just simply ask questions as a start point, even if you're not putting your own opinion across. You can say something along the lines of I was discussing topic X with one of my colleagues, and I wondered whether others feel this about it, or something like that. So you're just inviting people to give their opinions, and let's face it, everybody loves to give their opinions, right? So do a little poll, create a little poll, and say, do people think it's like this, like that, or like that? And get known that way, rather than trying to necessarily always be the expert. Feel free to ask questions too.
It's a great point, and also the other thing to do is actually you can curate some content, or just got
Yeah,
comment.
share stuff,
Yeah,
reshare something.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's plenty of lovely stuff that all the customer success companies, the client success and Gainsight and Tatango and Custify and all of those. They'll produce a great piece of
They've got
content.
great blogs. There's great stuff out there actually. And
Yeah, share it with an opinion. Say, I really like what they said about X. What do you think?
and also tag them. If you've got the author of the post, tag them in it.
And connect with them and say, right, I loved what you posted. I'd love to, I shared it with my own connections, and I'd love to connect with you, please.
Yeah. So I think people, when talk about personal brand, people think, what does that mean? My LinkedIn picture and my banner at the top of my LinkedIn profile, but not really. I'm talking more about the content that's on your profile.
It's the activity, isn't it? Really,
the activities that you're doing and getting involved in the communities, connecting with the right people, and be consistent with it as well. You should be doing that every day. You should be doing, even if it's a couple of things a day, whether it be just a like or a share.
Actually, that's a really great point, Alan, because when the start point for building your personal brand on social media is not when you need a job, ideally.
No. And if you want to carve out a career in customer success, you've got a great opportunity there to, as I say, that there out of those 7,000 people, how many in the customer success space are actually doing that? Well, probably less than 100, I would say, consistently. So there's a big opportunity there to really make yourself stand out and take that opportunity over a period of 12, 18 months and beyond to position yourself as a thought leader. It will make you eminently more employable as well. If you're looking to break into that space or transition into CS, it will make you much more employable when people look at your social footprint.
Yes. And my assumption is, and I must be right on this, I'm sure, is that any recruiter, when they receive your resume, one of the first activities they're going to do is they're going to check you out on LinkedIn.
I do that before I've even opened the CV, if I'm completely candid. So, that's my first port of call is to...
So it's almost more of your business card than your resume is.
Yeah, because you can see if people are active. With a CV, you can't see what they're doing and what community. I'm looking for things like mutual connections, because my connection base is going to be largely...
Well, you can write what you want on a resume, right? You can fake it. It could be someone else could have written it, but you can't, in the same sense, do that for the reasons we just stated. You've got to build it up over time.
Yeah, it's authentic, isn't it?
It's sort of more, or at least more authentic, than your resume can be. So yes, it gives you a closer understanding, doesn't it? So that's a really interesting point.
Yeah. So that's definitely one of the that's the top thing I would advise. I've actually got a couple of calls today with customer success managers that are looking to see how they can improve their chances, and it's all themed around this. And the advice they're asking me for is all around how to market themselves and position themselves in the industry. And I think that is the most important thing that you need to start doing.
All right, cool. So what have we said so far? So we need to audit ourselves in terms of what industry knowledge we have, what worlds we understand and that we've currently moved in that we can apply into a customer success role, and what knowledge, skills, and experience that we have in terms of activities that customer success managers might get up to that again are transferable. We talked about things like project management or stakeholder management or onboarding or those types of things. And then we also talked about filling the gaps. So undergoing training, reading books, getting certified, and proving that you're taking customer success seriously by doing so, as well as so you can add that to your resume of things that you've done, as well as obviously actually being able to talk about customer success in an interview with a certain amount of competence and confidence. And then what we're saying is that in addition to this, which is what we've just been discussing, is your brand, your personal brand, which you need to build online by using social media, and that's partly in order to look great from the recruiter's perspective, but partly, as you say, it's also part of learning, because by reading what other people are saying, you effectively you've got your finger on the pulse of what other people are thinking, what other people are doing. You understand the direction of travel, perhaps, of customer success better than someone who's not doing all of those things. And you are, of course, in addition to all of that, building up your network of people who may well be able to help you when you need help.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
let's talk about that, or more generally about finding positions. So we'll assume that those messages that we've discussed so far are grasped and people understand, right, that's what we need to do. We need to be doing all of those things. So we're doing all of those things, and we're now going to actually hunt for positions. I have this belief, and this is not so much based on experience, because I've spent a lot of my time, I've created my own job positions by starting businesses, etc., or been headhunted into positions and so on. So it hasn't been sort of quite normal for me. But my belief is that if I said all the best jobs, I'm perhaps exaggerating, but let's say a lot of the best jobs never get advertised on Glassdoor or whatever, because somebody who knows somebody says, oh, you should get Bob or Mary or Sue to fulfill that role. And that might be internal, or it might be a friend of a friend, or it might be somebody who on social media knows that somebody's looking for a role, or alternatively, you see that somebody is saying there's some roles going at company X. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, loads actually. But I think that kind of comes back to what we were talking about with network and community a moment ago. So I can't remember what the updated stat is, but I think at one time it was only something like 1 in 4 roles were actually advertised in the open market. So
that's a real people. So people who rely upon searching Glassdoor, etc. Sorry to pick on Glassdoor, but it's the one that springs to mind. Yeah. The people who currently are relying on that effectively may only be seeing perhaps a quarter of the roles. And my suggestion might be that they're the least sexy roles.
Not always that, but certainly you won't be getting a full fill for the available vacancies in the market. I don't know if that stat's up to date, Rick. So don't.
No, sure.
But that was once upon a time the kind of commonly known fact that it was around 25%. So it may have shifted because there's so many different companies have bigger recruitment teams and so on now doing direct hiring. So I think you probably find it slightly less than that now. But I think the underlying point is there you have to build your network. So for me, if I were going to market now to find a customer success role, I'd be leveraging those communities. Do you mind if I name drop a few? Am I allowed to do that? Am I?
Go right ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like Customer Success Cafe, Gain, Grow, Retain. You've got Customer Success Leadership Network. Every one of those has a jobs channel. And also, I think one of them now, possibly Gain, Grow, Retain, has also launched a channel for people hunting for roles. So, there's tons more beyond those three that do something similar and kind of aggregate job content and so on. So there's so many different ways of finding those roles outside of the obvious LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and so on. I'm bound to be biased here, but you should try and build a relationship with a recruiter or two. There aren't that many of us in customer success.
No.
But, definitely go down that route and try and build a relationship there.
And I'll be when I put this on LinkedIn, obviously I will be connecting it directly to Alan. So if you see this, you can easily get hold of Alan through LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I'm always here to jump on a call or time allowing, always try and make myself available to help.
What's your email address? Might as well say it now and we'll say it at the end as well.
Yeah, it's just alan@pi-recruitment.co.uk.
So pi as in just literally PIE, not pi as in the radius of a circle or whatever. PIE. Food pie.
But the address is on my LinkedIn profile as well, along with my number, so you can always contact me there.
Are you UK only?
Europe. So largely UK, but we do because of the types of briefs we see, they do tend to spill out into European.
So you're happy to have people from anywhere in Europe contact you,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
the community generally. You know, I think as we expand, our capabilities will broaden, and it was on the agenda to look at the US as a market as well. That's been put on the back burner given what's going on. But we are international, so heavily UK, but there is an international feel to it. But the communities, Rick, I think that is vital, and I'll keep talking about it. But I think operating outside of that, building a network. If you want to be super proactive, and I worked with a candidate on this recently, actually kind of approaching it like a sales funnel themselves, and actually drawing up a target list of companies that would be relevant. You've got things out there like Crunchbase that can help you identify the types of companies that you want to work for. You can do a free trial on that and actually use their filters to identify companies by sector, by funding round, by size, location. So you can actually build out your own little target list of companies. Have a look on their careers pages. They might have jobs posted on there that aren't out in those communities and so on. Even if they haven't, what's wrong with targeting them? I know a guy that did that very successfully and used his senior guy that used his industry expertise and actually went down that route and actually ended up creating a role. They ended up creating a role for him. So
again, just to interrupt you, I know, apologies again, Alan. So what we're saying here is that a company that has just received for the sake of argument, like a Series B funding round, may well be, that tells you they may well be looking at either growing or even perhaps kicking off their customer success function.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've just had that funding, if you see that a company X, which is in an industry that's relevant to your experience, right, has just received Series B funding, then that tells you, well, why don't you go and ask them, right? Don't wait for them to apply, to say we're looking for. Go and talk to them. Say, look, who should I speak to? Go and find out. Have you got a customer success function? If so, who leads it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can probably find that they'll probably have some customer case studies on the website that you can leverage if you've worked with similar types of customers in the past and all of those things. So that would be, that for me, that would be the most highly personalized way of approaching a potential employer. And it's probably better suited to people that have got a bit more experience to do that. So
sort of more of a senior thing to do, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. But, plenty of people are out there targeting companies without roles, and because they've come across them in the industry or they've competed with them and so on. But I think that is an amazing way to go about it. And it's, you're on the front foot, you're bypassing all of the noise of the jobs that you'll see on LinkedIn and so on. And probably shouldn't be saying this, you're also removing the fee over your head that comes along with going through a recruiter. And right now, that's, people are quite cost sensitive right now. And I would always offer that advice to somebody that's, trying to make the move is, we do well because we have expertise. But I think if you can remove that fee over your head, particularly if you're targeting very early stage companies who are not sat on millions of pounds worth of VC funding, I think that's even more important to do that because you're mindful.
Right, because every penny counts, sort of thing.
Absolutely. So there's an angle there as well that, again, if somebody wants to give me a call on that, I've got a ton of ideas around it rather than ramble on too much more about that one.
So there's a range of places that we should be going if we're looking for a position. Yes, of course, we can look at the traditional big recruiters. You mentioned that there are some specialist recruiters, of which Pi Recruitment is one, which they can reach out to you if they're in Europe. And in addition, they should really be looking at. And by the way, I mean, I've got multiple thousand customer success managers who I'm connected to personally on LinkedIn, and I see roles being advertised all the time. And by advertised, I don't mean advertised on LinkedIn Jobs. I mean just put onto my feed. Searching for 2 CSMs, 1 CSM position going, et cetera, all the time I see that because I've got so many thousands of customer success, senior customer success managers and junior customer success managers, all of that. I see that all the time. So and those are the roles that as I said, I mean, my belief is they're probably the better roles because they can fill the good roles without having to go to recruitment. That's how I kind of
yeah.
see it. So you should be doing all of that. And then to take it the stage further that you mentioned, then it is, instead of just being reactive to all of that, seeing what people are saying, is actually go out and ask for a role. Go out and say, yeah, I see that you've just got your Series B funding or your Series C funding. Are you looking? And I have industry relevance, and would love to work for a company such as yours, in a customer success role. Are you looking to employ any customer success managers in the next few months? Because if so, I'd be very interested in talking to you.
Absolutely, and if we look at the growth in roles over the last taking the last 3 months out, I mean the market grew in vacancies in the UK by 30, I think it was 33%, which was far higher than the actual growth of people in the industry. So I think we've gone. I think hopefully once we've returned to some degree of normality, I think we'll find ourselves back in a similar situation.
Well, I think so too. I mean, I did some. Admittedly, this is just like amateur research on LinkedIn that I did myself, right? And I just literally put a couple of polls out, and this was in June, so this is very recently.
I saw one of those actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one asked whether customer success managers believe that customer success was more important, less important, or has about the same level of importance, sort of post COVID-19 as pre COVID-19. And I think it was 78% said customer success has become more important. And I would agree with that. And the basic principle here, of course, is that people realize just how critical keeping your customers is when you can't get new ones so easily. And then the second question I asked was an even more simple question: is your customer success organization either now or within the next 3 months looking to recruit new people? And 51% said yes. So either now or in the next 3 months, they're looking to recruit. 51%, which if you think about it, I mean, at any time, that is a pretty big number.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let alone in a inverted commas, a very difficult time when other, and very regrettably, obviously, including customer success managers, people are losing their roles, and 51% of people are saying, well, we're either recruiting now or intending to recruit within the next 3 months. So there we go.
I think it will go the other way. I think we'll see a big uptick in roles at some point soon, hopefully, and I think there will be a dearth of like we had probably 6-12 months ago. There just weren't enough people to go round, I think. So I think, but that means for the people looking to transition in, you're going to find there's more willingness to entertain alternative backgrounds, as we've already touched on, whether it be project management, product management, and so on.
Yes, which by the way is a great thing anyway. So to people who are recruiters, I also have a message, which is, which might be listened to cynically by those who know what they're doing, as opposed to, it's easy for me to say this, but my belief is that some of the best candidates are candidates from outside the customer success industry. And that's not to say the people inside the customer success industry aren't amazing, because they are. But I tell you what, customer success is growing, it's changing, it's adapting, and some of the skills, knowledge, and experience from outside of it is really needed.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, so that is the end of part 2. Don't forget to sign up to our newsletter at practicalcsm.com/sign up to make sure you don't miss part 3.